I'm Garth. I'm from the CEO of Canvas Envision, and I'm going to talk to you about how we are enriching and extending the digital thread to the frontline with our software. So, first of all, who are we? We are a startup, but we're actually a very old startup. We've actually been in business for over 40 years in several different iterations as things get bought and sold and bought and sold. But it really started in the world of graphics, being able to take technical information, engineering intent, and make it available to people through graphics. And over time, okay, you have 3D CAD, so how can we use 3D CAD to then deliver those graphics? And ultimately, where do those graphics go? Those graphics go into some kind of manual, document, work instruction, and so on. So the software has evolved over the years to help with this process and help make it faster and faster. But of course, more and more, the need is not just a document, but a work instruction to get knowledge onto the shop floor. So what we have done is said, you know what, there's a better way than a document. There's an interactive experience we can deliver. So here's an example of an animation. It doesn't have to be animated, but the idea is to make something interactive, step by step, that you can track and follow along, get help when you need, and so on. So this is how the software has been evolving over the years. But the challenge with all of this, even though we sped it up as fast as we could, it still takes time. And this is where AI comes in to massively reduce that time to author all these things. So through this journey as well, we've delivered to thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. So we have deep domain experience in this area. We've got tons of ability and learning of how to deliver effective software, and that's what we've put AI into. So where is this used? Where is it needed? It's needed anywhere where you have a complex product, a complex process, with knowledge that needs to be transferred to someone to go do the work, which is pretty much most industries. And we have customers in most of these industries as well. Some are some big names that you know, some are some names you've never heard of before, because whether you're big or small, you have a need to transfer knowledge. And some of them are just doing graphics, some of them are doing documents, some of them are doing interactive instructions. It doesn't matter, whatever they're doing, we're helping them out. But we can also connect into systems of record. We can connect into PDM and PLM, and we have lots of partnerships to do that. We can also connect into the systems of execution, and we have partnerships to handle that as well. So again, whether it's standalone or fully integrated and automated, we've got customers kind of all across the spectrum doing that. And you say, okay, well, why does this matter? Well, when you're trying to transfer knowledge, there's several hurdles to get that done. And the first, of course, is complex products and complex processes. That takes time to document, to train, to learn, to perform, to get productive. So that's a huge bottleneck on that. And then, of course, transferring that knowledge in some form or fashion while all those workers are leaving and retiring. That expertise is going. So what's happening is you're getting new workers wanting to come in, and you got to train them and make them better. But yet all the things you have are old and outdated, and yet they want interactivity. They want digital stuff. They're digital natives. So we have all these hurdles to really get through that knowledge transfer. And yet here, thanks to people like Peter that have really reduced the burden to generate incredibly complex products and processes. So this hurdle is a lot lower these days, and especially bringing AI into modeling and simulation, all this amazing stuff, that hurdle is almost nowhere. And yet all these things after are still very manual, very time intensive, and in fact you're creating a problem like this. So there's now urgency to solve this problem because you can't really get any more complex here without solving this, because you'll never be able to produce it in time. So what we do is solve that problem. And ultimately, when you think about how does someone go about producing that document or transferring that knowledge, you have someone who knows what they're doing, some expert, engineer, or some senior person, and they produce some kind of document. It used to be manuals. In fact, some companies, believe it or not, still deliver manuals. It's very common. Or you can digitize them and deliver PDFs and whatnot. But the reality of those things is it takes a massive amount of time. Days, weeks, months. You're releasing a new product, you might have to deliver dozens or hundreds or thousands of documents for manufacturing. And of course, guess what? They're disconnected, right? So now you got to update something because engineering never makes changes, right? Yes, they do. So now the updates are time consuming. At the end of the day, you're trying to deliver that to someone on the front line, but are they getting those updates? They're disconnected. So all this effort to have a connected worker strategy, they kind of forgot about the worker. They're connecting all the data, but they didn't connect it to the worker. So we fixed that by bringing in what we call a visual execution platform. which allows you to then author incredibly rapidly using your engineering data and tie it in so the updates can be very, very fast. So if you want to make a document more quickly, we've got you covered. But we also believe you can deliver that interactively to the front line, so now they're truly connected to everything that you do. So what does that look like? So imagine the experts. What do you have as source data? CAD data, ideally, but not always. Some companies have a ton of legacy stuff. So we can bring in those PDFs, those videos, and convert them in our work instruction engine into something that is very visual, very interactive. Of course, then you can deliver as a document or deliver it as an interactive experience. We can also connect into ARIS and PLM and PDM systems. So now we can connect into the system of record and bring the engineering data. We can also bring this back, so now it's managed. Now you can do change control on all these instructions. And there are companies that deliver through tools like execution systems, and we can connect into those as well. So whether you're just starting here with video, or you're going to do fully automated and integrated, we cover all scenarios. Now I want to talk about AI, because this is an AI session. So I could talk about all the things we can do here, but you can come down to our booth and see that. I want to talk about AI, because we just introduced this. We started in November, but there's new capability we just introduced in February, and it's like mind-boggling what we're able to do. So first of all, Evie, that's our AI assistant, and Evie understands how to author a work instruction, what makes something instructional, and understands how to lay it out, how to process, and so on. It also understands 3D, so it can take the 3D data and do stuff with it. You want to hide stuff, show stuff, move stuff, no problem, it can do that. Also, as I said, it can understand how to ingest all your legacy stuff and convert it into a more interactive work instruction format. And then to make it all work, though, we have this very templated system that tells the AI what to put where, how to format it, how to lay it out, and so on. So all these things together allow for insanely fast authoring. So there's two ways that it works. One way is like a chatbot, like an assistant. You prompt it, say I want to do this, and it goes and does it. Under the hood, there's a ton of stuff that happens there in terms of understanding the intent, maybe asking a few verification questions, ingesting some data, but then it really orchestrates a whole bunch of agents underneath, depending what you're asking. You want to do video, it's going to run a video agent to go process that and return it back. Want to do some image processing, rip apart a PDF and redo it. So we handle all of that kind of orchestration of whatever is the best tool to make that happen. And then, of course, it will go and generate that content inside of the system. But we also have more of an agentic mode. We've been debating, is it a workflow, is it an agent, is it a workflow agent, is it an agentic workflow? I don't think they have those definitions yet, but the bottom line is, here you prompt the system, here the system prompts you. So it's already predefined and set up, do these things in this order, do this way, call these agents, whatever the case might be. So that gives you something a bit more predictable and repeatable, so you don't have to have a good prompt, right? And of course, people can make their own based on what it is they're doing. So we ship 3 out of the box, PDF, video, 3D. Of course, these can be tweaked and done however you want. But the reality is, you're going from days and hours to minutes. It's remarkable, the time savings. In fact, we're toying with the idea of removing every single ribbon and button in this platform, in our system, and just replacing it with AI. Because why do I need to learn software? I don't. So this is where Peter can close his eyes, because he said he doesn't like to see demos of startups. So I'm not going to demo the whole product, but I do want to tease you with a tiny little bit of what we can do with AI. Just to tease, because there's so much more we can do. So here, I'm going to show you how we go from video into an interactive work instruction. And then you're going to see how we change that video with 3D. So here,
AI prompts objects to generate an
I don't want it to talk.
step-by-step instruction from a single video.
Where's your? All right.
She
So
sounds
here-
better than you, Garth.
Yeah, sorry. So here you've got the layout, and you've got these target zones. We call them prompt objects. I believe that's what we call them now. But basically, these are the guardrails that tells the AI, hey, text goes here, video goes here. When the text goes here, I want you to format it this way, put these bullets, this color, this font, whatever it is you want from a styling perspective. And I asked my my systems engineer, my solution engineer, like, hey, record yourself putting this like toy puzzle together, which we have actually downstairs, and put the video in here and ask Evie to go and generate a work instruction out of that. That was the prompt. So it goes in and it chops up the video, it understands it, it processes it and says, okay, this is step 14, this is the video for that. This is step 1, this is that. And it just pulls the time segment of that part of that video. So if I want to know what happens in step 3, I can hit play and just see step 3. So we did all this because it understands steps, sequences, and so on, and it deduced what needed to happen there. So that literally, I sped it up here, but that took like 4 minutes. And most of that time was uploading the video and processing it. And once it was cached, it literally takes like a minute to produce all that. So next step is, okay, we got videos. This is great. Now I can say next, previous. We can put tracking. We can put measurement. We can do all kinds of things now because it's an interactive format versus a video that you got to scrub through and try to figure out, right? But now let's connect it to the digital thread. Now let's put in the 3D model. So we convert the 3D model thanks to our TechSoft friends. And now it's a lightweight web-based format in our system. So there's the 3D model. Great. Well, how long would it take you to go and do the build-up of those parts? Step 1 is this, step 2 is that, step 3 is that. How about we just ask Evie to do it? So hey, Evie, go in and everywhere where there's a video, where part 1 comes in here, part 2 comes in there, and so on, replace that with the 3D data, but also change the visibilities of everything so we can see the build-up. So it goes through and processes all of that and comes back and says, okay, here you go. So now we can go, okay, step 1, bring those 2 things, then bring those, then bring those, then bring those. But you know what? Let's make it even easier. Let's ask Evie to go in and say, anything new coming in on a step, color it green and put a label on it. So you could, again, you could easily go do that yourself. But why? Just ask Evie. Evie can then do it across the entire thing. And now you're going to see very easily, you know, these 2 guys, then those, and so on. So if you want, at this point, you want to go in and say, hey, let me animate this one. I'll animate it in 3D, or let me explode it, or put a parts list, and things like that. You can now dress this up because the total time to go from video to this was less than 10 minutes. Now you can spend another 10 minutes and get done in less than half an hour, and then deliver that to the shop floor. And if you tied it back into Eris and you're sending it over to your MES system, now it's all digitally connected the second you publish. So that's what we do. That's just a tiny, tiny sample of what we do. And the idea being, number 1, if we can get digital delivery and an experience to the front line and they execute visually, that's going to be massive performance improvement. And by the way, those are hard dollar ROI that you can calculate because you've reduced error, you've reduced scrap, you've improved tack time, whatever it might be. And if you're talking about AI strategy, you now have measurable ROI in your AI strategy in manufacturing just by doing that. Of course, this is the big area of productivity. Instead of taking days, weeks, months, we can now take minutes. That's a massive productivity savings. Take a next step and connect it in back into systems of record to automatically update things or deliver it all the way to the front line. And by the way, if you wanted to do it manually, it's just like using PowerPoint. Guess what most of our customers do? They use PowerPoint. So we just put our PowerPoint in front of them and let them go. So they can get productive literally on hour 1 of using the software. And that really comes into this ROI that's repeatable. Every single time you use the software, you try something else, you connect it into engineering and get the CAD data, you deliver it this way, you're going to continuously get value over and over and over again. So that's what we do at Envision. And you can come to our booth and we can show you more.
Awesome job. I think we got time for maybe 2 questions. Anybody got a question out there for Garth about Envision? I think you should just call it Ask Evie.
Yeah, right? Hold on, let me get Evie up here and answer the question.
Yeah.
By the way, my marketing guy asked Evie, give me the top 10 things I should do. And it actually gave a marketing thing inside the product.
They said like, you got to come to Threaded.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And does she come to the Scrum meetings too?
Could, maybe.
Yeah. Any questions? No? Well, if there are no questions, then thank you very much.